Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Don't mind me. I just caught a wild Daprosaurus and taking it for a little joyride. Careful not to get too close. It might bite. Today we're going to check out some left-wing teachers teaching leftist propaganda in our schools to our children. I think political bias shouldn't be taught in schools. History does enough to tell the story by itself. Manipulating history and teaching about bullshit like systemic racism, which isn't real, and their unique political twists on what happened in history is the definition of not cool. If they infect our kids with their propaganda, they will surely win even more elections. Not excited about that. Let's see what this leftist teacher has to say.
Kind of a video diary for me, but if you're a white teacher who still hasn't talked about what happened at the Capitol, here's what I did, and it worked nicely. I just said the facts of what had happened because the kids were curious about it. The President of the United States called for people to walk down there, and they did, and they broke in, and police opened barriers for them to get in, took pictures, there was backup called.
You're even saying it yourself. Yes, the government let the right-wingers into the Capitol so they could pretend the right is a bunch of violent people, so Trump would be held responsible.
After things got bad, people were eventually escorted out of the building and not arrested.
What do you mean no one was arrested? Lots of people were arrested.
The president did make a statement for them to leave and go home, but it was after everything had already kind of happened, or at least started. I showed them a picture of the police presence at the Black Lives Matter movement, and then I showed them a picture of the police presence at this before things got violent. I didn't show them violent pictures. And then I let them make the comparisons. They had questions, they were comparing. We brought it back to privilege and how white people were treated versus how black people were treated in similar situations. I showed them the book Sit-In where we talked about defensiveness in white people about race.
How does that prove the right is racist, or that white people have more privilege? This proves the opposite. Right-wingers were set up, they were led into the Capitol, and then arrested for it. Whilst BLM were allowed to riot and literally kill 20 people and get away with it, and they're hailed as heroes. This proves that BLM has privilege and white people do not.
I'm a 4th grade teacher, and I do a lot of work with social justice and equity in my classroom. We have racialized conversations all the time.
That is not your fucking job. Please stop brainwashing our children.
And my kids have gotten very good at this type of discussion. But there's one thing that keeps coming up that I'm not quite sure how to tackle. It's the slang, with cultural appropriation of slang terms. Like, sheesh, they're doing that a lot. Or like,
sheesh.
Like, oh, that's fire.
Why do you care if a white person says something that derived from black people? Are we not allowed to pay tribute? And why is it a colored person can do something that a white person can't? Isn't that in itself racist? Chew on that.
The more I argue on Facebook with people, the more they think I hate white people.
You do.
I don't hate white people. I hate racism. It's not my fault that's often white people.
Racist.
Then they started saying, well, you think you're above it all. I don't. So I wrote this thing. I, Hannah Fannin Steele, am a racist. I am a product of the white dominant structure I was raised in. My people have done an excellent job lifting each other up. Unfortunately, that was on the backs of people of color. Because this is deeply embedded in my history, it is no wonder I was passed down views that are racially problematic. Even though white supremacy can be unconscious, it is constant. Living in this society would have been a miracle for me to be anything but racist. Now that I know I have deeply rooted racist tendencies, I can constantly be looking and listening for how they surface in my life. And when a person of color gives me feedback for not being a good ally, I can say thank you and not get defensive. Something here I said could have been problematic because I'm always learning. But you can't learn unless you...
You are a racist. You live and breathe race. Race is all you think about. You don't even let white people do things that derive from black people. You treat races literally differently than another race. You are a racist. You are the definition of racist.
Young people in my class are teaching us about Pride Month. So we've got a lot of art up here dedicated to Pride Month starting here in June. And we have a calendar telling us about everything that's happening each day. Exciting. It's Vroom Vroom Art. It's been that for a while. Vroom Vroom Art. Orchid's Paw with a 0.
Nothing wrong with being trans, but to treat it like it's a gift to be trans is problematic too, because you might make someone be trans for popularity and they may make permanent decisions with their body like hormone therapy or even surgery. When they find out they did it for the fad, by that time they already did their body irreversible damage and will forever live with gender dysphoria, which is the very thing that they try to prevent. Check out this next video. Leftists hate everything normal. They won't be happy until they ruin everything. Look at this. They even teaching our kids to hate America.
It is rooted in fundamental transphobia. I hear a lot of gay men saying to me, well, I like dick, I like men. I think that trans men are handsome, but I could never ever sleep with one of them. Well, thank you for telling everyone you're very boring. Also, like, this is just transphobia. Like, I don't think any of you know what that word fucking means, but it is, if you have to exempt or rationalize why you don't want to be with a transgender person in the fucking first place, trying to get you to see how you're being transphobic is impossible.
It's impossible to prove it because it's simply not true. They're not transphobic just because they don't want to sleep with you. That's not how it works, buddy. So my choices are literally to let someone take advantage of me when I don't want it, aka rape me, just so I could say to you that I'm not transphobic. That is insane.
Oh no, it's alright, thanks. He's helping me. Faye. Oh yeah, he's just gone to go and get me. Faye. I can't remember who served us. I think it was him.
Sorry, people can't read your mind, and you are absolutely batshit for thinking someone's going to read your earrings and make that connection that those are your pronouns. Sounds to me like you are just complaining for attention.
And now seriously, not only am I brave, I'm braver than any military veteran who has ever served in the American military. Any of them. The Marines, the Army, the Navy, any of them, I'm braver than them. I'm braver than them. You can't compare the things they do to what I had to do. You seriously, genuinely, honest to God cannot. And I would love to have somebody come on here and try to convince me otherwise.
People shoot at them with bullets, and you think being misgendered is as traumatic as that? You are delusional. I hope you guys liked this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button for notifications. Peace and chicken grease.